name's Jeremy Capone.
I'm Christy Brissett,
Christy's
registered
back.
dietitian.
I know everybody missed her. We all missed her. She's back in the kitchen. And we have a super special guest today, Jennifer Sprung.
Hi.
She is a mom extraordinaire, home cook, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself.
I'll try my best.
Right.
Jen, before you start, I just want to give a bit of background about today's class. So we're doing something a little bit different, and it's in honor of International Childhood Cancer Awareness Day, which the world celebrated last week. And so we took the concept of kids and cancer, and we thought, what could we do for a cooking class? And so we started thinking about ideas for getting kids in the kitchen and cooking with kids, which is something that I know a lot of parents struggle with. How do you get them eating well, and how do you get them interested in some different types of foods? And so Jen is actually one of our biggest social media engagers, and so on our Twitter account, she's always sharing recipes that she uses with her family. So she's going to tell us a little bit more about what she does with that.
Hi, everybody. I am mom to 3, and I'm an at-home mom. I have one son with special needs. In particular, his special needs tend to revolve around feeding issues. So we've spent the last 8 years, basically, since he was born, working on different strategies to help him eat better. I think that he probably has a lot of things in common with some of the people that have gone through chemotherapy and might have some side effects. Lots of choking, lots of difficulty actually managing different textures in his mouth at the same time. And there are some motor issues as well. So basically what started off as a little tiny bit of a journey for us has turned into a really educational experience. And what we're hoping to share today is just some of the things that we've tried at home that have definitely increased his appetite, but also made food a more comfortable experience for him.
First recipe, I think, when Jen suggested it, I think this is actually probably one of the most perfect recipes you can probably make with kids. I love it in the morning, and I'm still a kid, so I think this is definitely a win.
When we say kids, we mean also adult kids.
Yeah.
So pancakes, I mean, who does not love pancakes? And it is a great vehicle for introducing some new ingredients, some new textures, some new flavors. So this is one of Jen's. I was prepping them this morning. And Jen and her husband came in, and it smells like morning at her house.
It does.
I hopefully I hit it on the mark. But why don't we start? Let's go. So we're gonna go with the dry ingredients first, and this is just a step you can do ahead of time.
Yes.
Which is nice. Which is soaking oats, about half a cup of oats, in about half a cup of buttermilk.
Yes.
You can use any milk or any dairy or non-dairy.
You would probably use yogurt or buttermilk.
Okay.
You want it to have a active bacterial culture to help break down the outsides. It definitely changes the texture of the pancakes, so the oats pretty much disappear into them. You don't really notice that much of a texture difference.
The buttermilk too, I mean, it does give it a really nice kind of twang.
There's a bit of a tang,
yeah. Which is nice in pancakes. If you can't find buttermilk, you can make buttermilk from scratch, really easy. About a cup of your milk to about a tablespoon of citric acid of choice. So you can use,
lemon juice or
vinegar. Perfect. Let it sit 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. You can actually leave it overnight in your fridge.
Perfect. And then, so this has been soaked. I did this overnight. Minimum, how long would you say?
I would say minimum 6 hours.
Okay, so minimum 6 hours.
Do it overnight in your fridge.
So soaked oats. We have about a cup and a half of, today I'm using red Fife flour. I love using red Fife in the kitchen. You can use, unbleached all-purpose flour. Maybe is a good way to start, especially if not everyone is used to the graininess.
Right, one of the things that we do at home is I usually start a recipe with white flour, all-purpose flour, and then slowly over the course of a couple of weeks, each time that I make it, I add a little bit more. I take out more of the all-purpose flour and I add more whole wheat or spelt. That way it's very subtle changes in texture as you're going through. I don't notice any difference in the pancakes if I make them with spelt or if I make them with all-purpose flour as far as texture goes, but my son would definitely pick that up.
So slowly.
Slowly.
You can even do a blend.
Changing the recipe.
Yeah.
A blend, go half-half, and then you can slowly probably eventually get to all a nice spelt flour, a nice red Fife. So all our dry ingredients. We have our flour, baking powder, baking soda. That goes in.
This is awesome. Could you come to my house
I
and
know,
do this
I
a couple
know.
of times a week?
This is the best way to cook.
This is awesome.
And then our wet ingredients. So we're going to start off with a few eggs. 3 eggs in there.
And I like this recipe because it's a great way to incorporate some extra protein. So you wouldn't usually think of pancakes as having too many eggs, but
Right.
with this one, you're putting the 3 eggs into it.
So I just added a little bit of olive oil. We have about 3 tablespoons in there. And the bananas are next. So actually I'm going to get Jen because she taught me a really cool technique on how to peel a banana. And this is what you're probably looking for. You want them pretty ripe if you're using it
Yes,
for...
I cheat quite regularly, and I use them at just about any state as long as there's no green left on them, because I sometimes have to make extra pancakes during the week.
Yeah.
I don't always have them at that point. So you know what? I'm going to get both of you guys to help me,
Sure.
actually.
Yeah.
So you know the right way to do this, right? You got to
I
pretend you're a
learned,
monkey.
so she-
Okay. So I want your
The face is important.
I want your
cheated.
best monkey face. Okay. Can you do a monkey face?
I don't know. I usually do it like,
There you go. That's not bad. What's your monkey face?
I'm doing the same thing, but I'm shrugging.
Oh, you're shrugging like that. Okay. Okay. Now make the monkey sound. I want to hear a monkey sound. That's awesome. How about you? Let's go.
You're really embarrassing.
Come on.
this was
You gotta do it.
So we're-
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it the way that the monkeys do it, and this is foolproof. You can teach your kids this because my kids can never actually peel them from the other direction. So you turn them this way, you hold them with the big stem up there, and you just pinch at the end, and then you slide them like this. And when you're peeling them when they're ripe, it's really, really simple. Like when they're not ripe, it's really, really simple to do it that way. Then you just pull out the little tab that's at the top, and you eat them that way.
extra points if you do it with your feet, right?
Extra, absolutely, absolutely.
Don't show your guests if you.
Yeah.
So we're using 3 bananas here.
Yep.
I know you can ripen them a little bit faster if you trap them in a little paper bag and put something like an apple or a pear in there. It'll actually speed up the process. So if you're short on time.
All right, so just like banana bread, you're gonna mash it up as best you can.
Told you I was gonna get you to work.
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that.
So I'm gonna add just while Jen's mashing the bananas, I'm just gonna add a little bit of vanilla here. And as you notice, I'm not adding. There's no sweeteners in this. We're not adding. I mean, you can if you like it a little bit sweeter. You can add maybe a little bit of honey, a little bit of maple syrup. But I found that the bananas actually give it a really nice sweetness
Yeah.
that you don't need to add anything else.
And when I'm making this at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes I forget the sugar, so I realized after a little bit of time that it really didn't need it because nobody complained if it wasn't in there.
So bananas in.
Bananas in.
And then we're gonna go with the soaked oatmeal
Yep,
in there.
toss it in.
Perfect.
Nice.
This is one of those kind of fail-safe recipes too that I like. So you can kind of eyeball a little bit here and there, and
Yeah.
you're still gonna end up with a really good pancake. So we just slowly mix the dry ingredients into the wet. And usually when I'm making pancakes, I don't know if you do the same thing, but I let it sit for about 5 minutes
Yeah.
just to let that baking soda, that baking powder activate, and you're gonna get some nice air bubbles. That's gonna give you a really nice fluffy pancake. So if you have the luxury, I don't have kids running around, so I can go on my own pace. But if everyone's patient enough, then you can let it sit 5-10 minutes, get it a nice little rise in there,
Yes.
get some bubbles going, and then you can spoon it onto your hot pan. So you can use cast iron, you can use non-stick. I just kind of blob them on. I don't know if you have a
Yep.
special
A
technique.
preferred
No,
technique.
actually, I usually use a ladle when I make them because it's easier, like a soup ladle.
And you probably get a better circle out of that.
Well, they don't have to be perfect. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I
We'll
actually
forgive you.
prefer the imperfect.
Yes.
So that's it. We're gonna cook them for about 3 minutes.
Probably
for
3
each
minutes
side.
per side.
You're looking for the bubbles. Once the bubbles start to form the top, that's usually an indicator that it's ready to flip, and then about another minute
Yes.
or so, depending on the size. So while that's going, we're gonna do a little topping here. I mean, the toppings can be as simple as nothing to, I mean, you can put some maple syrup. One topping, actually, Jen produced some amazing photos, food photography, and I think one of them I saw was with peanut butter and banana, which not too many people can argue with that.
It's a winning
It
combination.
was a winning combination.
So we're gonna show, this is just a peanut butter from scratch that anyone can do at home. It helps if you have a food processor. Actually, it really helps if you have a food processor. I'm not sure how you're gonna do it without that, but really simple. And we're using peanuts here that I just roasted. These are raw, unsalted, that are roasted. But you can do this with cashews. You can do this with almonds, pumpkin seeds. I mean, any sort of nut or seed that has a good oil content, for the most part, will work in here. So 2 cups into the food processor, and it's gonna get loud. So
It's got to be plugged in, eh?
and it's gotta be plugged in.
Yep.
Let it tip. See? Whoa. So my pan was too hot, obviously. This is live, it's live cooking, so the pan was a little too hot, but I made some ahead of time.
There you go. We'll use
What
those.
it look like. So you want to let this go for about 5 minutes for like a nice chunky peanut butter, about 7 minutes, 8 minutes for a nice creamy peanut butter. This is one of those things, I mean, so simple, but it has that kind of wow factor where you hit a point where you think it's done. Like, I screwed this up. This is not going to turn into peanut butter, and then give it another minute, and all of a sudden, it just turns into peanut butter. So
You'll get kind of peanut flour until all of the oils come out, and then you'll have a nice creamy texture. But I love the nuts and nut butters as ways to get the most calories into every single bite. And so when you're going through cancer treatment, or especially with children with the smaller appetites, and you're trying to pack in the extra calories, you want to. It's easier to do it with foods that are higher in fat.
So this is what they look like when you pay attention to the pan. Medium heat is a great, a good heat, a safe heat to cook pancakes with. And see now, you can see it's formed into a ball. Has anyone made peanut butter from scratch at home?
This is a fun one for the kids to watch too, because it's almost like a magic trick.
So you can see it's like kind of a crunchy peanut butter at this point. But I mean, it's a nice little thing you can do from scratch. Most of the, I don't want to say brands, but some of the peanut butters have a lot of hydrogenated fats added to them. This is one ingredient, which is, I think, everyone can agree is going to be much better. They do have some great peanut butters out there, so I mean, if you don't want to make one from scratch, you can definitely.
You can get a natural peanut butter that has nothing added, just peanuts, but it's definitely fun to do it yourself, and you can make smaller batches for recipes like this one.
So peanut butter is done, and that's it. A little bit of that buckwheat honey roasted peanut butter on top, a few slices of banana, and that's a nice breakfast, good looking breakfast, or dessert.
Absolutely.